Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Raptor X here with Good Clean Gaming RX, and today we are back once again in Blender. I know it's been almost a week, I guess, at this point since I've uploaded any videos. I'm feeling quite a bit better now, and finally reached the point where I think I can make it through without all the throat clearing and all that kind of stuff. So, I'm gonna go ahead and wait for my computer to catch up here. I'm going to go ahead and continue working on our wagon today. So I'm going to finish up the frame for the bottom of this, and we're going to do that, and then we're going to work on this portion, the axle trees, and I guess these would be the portions that like the traces and I guess the portions that like the horses would attach onto, right there, their tack at least would attach onto. So because I'm not exactly sure what this one would do here. Actually, it looks like that one comes up to the top here. So I imagine that's just a safety chain linking back to this portion of it. So okay, let's go ahead then and take a look, I guess, on both sides of this and just see what sort of, yeah, same principle here. It looks like both of those are no, there's definitely a can't tell if there's a tie rod on the bottom of these that turns the wheel, or if it's just the tongue that moves everything and it just pivots on the center there. And so it's kind of hard to tell with this one as well. This is coming up into there. I guess it's kind of hard to tell one way or the other. So we're just gonna make one, and we'll go ahead and we'll add some. No, that's, I believe, one central axle that runs all the way through there. So it would just have a pivot here. All right, we'll just do that. Because making a tie rod assembly on here is going to be, that's going to be quite a bit of work. So okay, let's go ahead and we're going to add in the mechanisms to make a pivot here. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and we'll just add, goodness, there we go. We'll just go ahead and we'll add in a basic mesh cube. There we go. We're going to scale this down some. And there we go. We'll make a top pivot block there. Actually, let's scale this a little wider because we're going to make this meet up with our runners here across the bottom of the wagon there. So about right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and we'll tab into this and we'll start actually making the pivot block. I'm going to go ahead and we'll add a circle. we go. And we'll scale this one in. And there we go. We'll make a face on that one. What? Let's go for, let's just go for 8. There we go. And then let's go ahead and we'll grab this one and move it down. There we go. Perfect. That'll work. And then we'll go ahead and I'm going to scale this down yet again so that it kind of fits right in there. There we go. Kind of just embed that into that portion of it. Perfect. And then we'll go ahead and we're going to click on this as well to grab all of this. And then I'm going to go ahead and we'll duplicate this, move it down and scale it. There we go, like so. And move it up like that. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and we'll just inset this slightly to give us a central axis or axle. And we'll go ahead and extrude that up into this one here. There we go, perfect. And ooh, you know what? I'm going to need to separate these because this one's going to remain stationary and then these ones are going to rotate on this portion. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab this and that. There we go. And we're going to separate these. There we go. And bump those out into a separate part. Okay, good. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab this one and that one and that one. So we want this. There we go. Yes, those two. There we go, all the way through. Then we'll add that one as well. And we're going to bring this one up till it meets up with that one. There we go. Okay, so that gives us our rotation point. I'm then going to go ahead and we will add a pivot point here for the tongue. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll get into here. And I'm going to go ahead and we'll add a couple of loop cuts there. Just to kind of give us a strap here. And there we go. There we go. And we'll just extrude scale that on the everything but X. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and we'll select those and these as well. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to add in another material and we'll give this one the metal There we go. Flow material preview really slows down a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and we'll just move this back to solid for right now. And then I'm going to go ahead and we'll add a pivot point here. So I'm going to extrude these out slightly again. No, I'm just going to add a circle. It'll be a little easier. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll add a circle. And we're going to bring this one down on the z-axis. There we go. And then we're going to fill it with an end gun. And we're going to rotate it on the y-axis 90 degrees. There we go. And then we're going to scale it down. There we go. And then we're going to go ahead and we'll move it forward. About right there. There we go. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring it down. And we're going to move it out on the x-axis. There we go. Something about like that. Alright, perfect. And then we're going to go ahead and we'll move this backwards on the Y until it mates up with that face. There we go. And then we're going to inset this. Something like that. Let's scale that down a little bit more. There we go. Perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and we'll grab this and we'll extrude it over. That was not exactly what I was looking for with this face. There we go. Alright, and then I'm going to go ahead and we'll select this ring and that ring and make a face. Ooh, that's not exactly what I was looking for either. There we go. Okay, so we're going to do this then. And we'll just make faces all the way around here. Like so. And jump out to wireframe here quickly. There we go. And one more. There we go. Jump back out to solid. Okay, so that gives us our pivot portions there. I'm going to go ahead and there we go. We're just going to scale this slightly. There we go, just to bring it out of right there. Okay, so that gives us our pivot point to allow our axle or our tongue to pivot up and down. I'm going to tab back out of here and we're going to add yet another cube onto here. There we go. We're going to scale this one down quite a bit. We want 0.1 or so. That's maybe a little small, we'll see. And drag that forward. Oops. Drag this forward on the y-axis. There we go, like so. And then down on the Z. Kind of into position. Right there. Perfect. Alright, and then we'll go ahead and we'll tab into here. I'm going to go ahead and we'll add that loop modifier again, or the mirror modifier. And we'll get rid of the vertices and we'll go ahead and add a generate mirror, turn on clipping. There we go. And we're going to run this through there. Till we get this more or less aligned. There we go, something like that. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and scale this up until it fills those portions of it. There we go. Then we'll go ahead and we'll add the loop cuts there. There we go. And we'll go ahead and grab those as well. Perfect. All right. Can move that out there. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and we'll add a loop cut to there. And another one, say right there. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and square these back up again. Scale Z 0. There we go. And this one and that one and this one. There we go. And we'll go ahead and scale these up. Till we get it. There we go. Something like that. Alright. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to do another loop cut here. Like so. And another one here. About like that. And then we're going to drag these ones out. And this is going to form the tongue of the wagon here. So we'll move this one out to approximately about right there. And then we're going to go ahead and extrude this one out as well. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this like that. There we go. And scale those till we get approximately parallel lines. There we go. Perfect. Alright, and then that kind of shaves down into a narrower into a round. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll put in another loop cut. We'll put that approximately about right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and so we'll need another one in there. We'll do say about right there. Perfect. All right. And then we're just going to need to build a crossbar right there with a pivot. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll add another circle. We're going to bring this one. Actually, that's remembering those. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring this one forward on the Y. There we go. And then we'll just bring it down on the Z. There we go. Bring that up for a central pivot. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add this portion here. And we're going to add each of these. I'm going to do this on another piece. Because we want these to be able to rotate. So that's probably a little small. Let's go ahead and bring this up to 0.2. Maybe 0.3. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and bring this forward on the y-axis. There we go. And there we go. And I'll scale that on the Z slightly. Perfect. I'll just delete the vertices. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and we'll add that mirror modifier in again. There we go. And we'll bring that out. That was say to about right there. This maybe, yeah, no, that's probably about right. And then I'm going to go ahead and that looks like it's probably just square right there. This doesn't have any of that, so I don't know if it's just intended to be pulled by one horse or if it's intended to be hooked onto like a tractor or something like that. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to use this style. I'm going to go ahead and we'll put in a loop cut here. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab this face here. And we're going to scale it just a little bit. There we go, like that. And I'm going to bring that out just to give us a band around there. Like this. And then I'm going to go ahead and we'll add in the Mhm. I don't know that I really want a physics link there, but yeah, no, it'll probably work better that way. It looks like this portion actually comes forward some, so let's do this. Um, mhm. Let's move this forward on the Y. There we go, and then there we go. And then we'll go ahead and extrude this through. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and we'll delete this face. There we go. And then we'll make faces on here again. And there we go. Perfect. Alright, so that gives us our pivot point for the chain to go through. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring this face and this face backwards some because I don't need it to stick out quite so far. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and we're going to add this. You know what? We're going to tab back into there and we'll just add it here and separate it later. We're going to add another circle. And we're going to drag that one forward. Oops, that's the Y. There we go, like that. And then we're going to go ahead and we'll rotate these 90 degrees on the Y-axis. There we go. And then we'll just go ahead and turn off flipping here. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and we'll bring these down. Oops. There we go, something like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and we'll inset these slightly and delete this face. There we go. Something like that. Yep, we'll just go like that. And then There we go, just kind of do like that, and that'll give it a little bit more of a round appearance. There we go, and then we'll go ahead and we'll bring this down somewhat into position there. There we go, perfect. Alright. Can we scale this on the X slightly? And we better just leave it alone. There we go. Alright, and then we'll just need to add this portion here. Unfortunately, we've hit another 30 minutes here, so we'll come back and we'll add these last two pieces of this. And then the portions over here as well in the next video. This is turning into quite a long one. But it's, I guess, one of the most complicated ones that I've built so far. I'm going to go ahead and we'll switch this out to material preview here. So that we can properly give all of these materials. We're going to assign this one to wood, and then I'm going to grab these and those and those. And those. Let's metal to assign those. There we go. And then we'll just do this. And we'll grab both those faces and assign those to metal as well. There we go. Perfect. And then we'll go ahead and get into here and we'll assign all of those like so. And we want these portions of it, there we go, to be assigned metal. There we go, so that we've got our central pivot. And then there we go, we'll assign those to metal also. And then we'll go ahead and we'll get into here. And we'll give these wood except for this portion of it. Because these would definitely be metal. Go. And then we'll tab into here and do the same. There we go. Alright. So that's got our wagon pretty much finished up. We really just have to do, like I said, these two pieces that would attach onto the traces from the horse. And then the portion out here, which we can't see there, but I'm just going to add like a little bit of like a metal band around there, and then a couple of links, because the there's an attachment point here to the rest of the horse's harness. And then that's pretty much going to be it at that point. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll drop out to rendered view here. There we go. So that we get a little bit more of like a sunlight effect to it. And yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you all for watching. I know this one has been a little bit of a longer series on this one, but if you've enjoyed these videos, go ahead and hit that like button down below and consider subscribing. and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone. Ta-ta.